as we saw on these two terms. But, as you know, in the history of the Church, we see that the Church will re-establish the law, not only in the form of the commandment, but also a huge building of juridical canons and law based on Roman law. Now, one of the principles of Franciscan was that they refused any form of law. Not only the rules of law, but also for other things, particularly with respect to property. They refused any form of law. So the problem was, of course, poverty was the main thing for them, so they refused any property. And the Church could accept this. But then the Church said, okay, you do not own, do not have the right of property, but this we can take, the Church can accept to be the owner, for instance, of the monasteries, etc., but you will have the right to use, usufructus. How do you say in English? Usufructus. It's a figure of Roman law, so either you are the owner, but you can rent the thing and leave the usage to another person. But this is a right. It's not a right of property, it's a right of use.
From Spanish and Portuguese, where that word is used, I would translate it to English as enjoy the fruits of.
But there must be a technical juridical term, because this exists in English law.
Well, use a phrase, of course. Use a phrase. Use a phrase.
Use a phrase. I don't know. For instance, the wife keeps the phrase of the etc. Anyway, but this was a strong point of quarrel, because the Franciscan refused even that. No, we do not have the right of use. We use, and that's all. We say, as a cow or a horse eat what he eats and eat without owning nor having the right of doing it, so we do not have the right of using what we use. And here there is a big controversy, because if you, the Church if you refuse the property, they know that all the building of juridical canonistic would fall. So that this is another point of it makes interesting the struggle. So there are many reasons why perhaps they failed in their attempt. But the main reason, I think, is that, as we told the other day, what they did in some way, while the Church, we could say, extracted from life a liturgy. So to say, the Church liturgicized life. The monks, one could say, made the reverse. They wanted to leave the rule, to redefine the rule, but this means to leave the liturgy. But I think that each time that you have to face, so read this, a dichotomy, and you try to play one pole against the other, this is doomed to fail. And this is what always happens. And you will see, often the fight, the contrast, the debate, the war, etc., are between the partisan of one pole against the partisan of the other pole. But this is the more interesting way, on the contrary, would be to go beyond the position, to neutralize the position. Is that clear? So I think we can say that the monks played life against liturgy, while the Church would do the different movement. But in the last instance, this did not work, in my opinion. And this, I think, comes, acquire kind of evidence if we make again now the question I made at the beginning of the seminar, and if we ask, what is a rule as a text? What is the nature of a rule as a text? Which kind of text, which kind of literature is a rule? That's what we'd like to try to show now. If we, I will take the example from 3-4 rules which had a great influence on monastic literature and which are also at the origin of the Benedictine rule. It's a body of rules which ends finally in a large text which is called the Regula Magistri, the rule of the master. So we have a series of rules. The first one is called the Rule of the Four Fathers. The second one is called the Second Rule of the Fathers, and we have even a third Rule of the Fathers, and finally we have the Rule of the Magister. But we know that they are linked. Historically and philologically they are linked. It's a body of text which goes together.
And what was the fourth one? What was the last
The
one?
Regula Magistri, the rule of the master, which is the most important one, and who was exerted a strong influence on the Benedictine rule. So, because historically it has a peculiar importance. So what we see, very interesting thing that we see if we analyze these four texts, it is that we see a very interesting play between, and dialectics between orality and writing. Orality and writing. What does it mean? Let's take the first of these four rules, the rule of the four fathers. The text will say that the four fathers, fictive, they are fictional fathers, they were the name of the founders of monasticism, so they couldn't be alive at that moment. They met together, and the text will say, while we were sitting together, in order to order the way of life or the rule of life, conversation, remember conversation means way of living in the beginning, or rule of the life. So they are sitting together. Then the second father will refer to the fact that while they are sitting and speaking together, the rule is written. Someone is writing the rule while they speak. So there is the fiction of an orality. They are speaking, it's one with the other, and while they speak, the rule is written. So the text, because mind the structure, it is a written text, but this written text pretends that is not written, that there are four people speaking. But then the written text will evoke the fact that the text itself is being written. It's in the act of being written. So when I say play dialectic between orality and writing, it is precisely because there is this play. So there is a fiction of orality which is meant to be the origin of the text. But it is the text itself which is making this pretension, making the fiction.